Oh, sorry. First of all, let me say hello. Hi, everyone. How are you doing? I'm doing well myself. It's good to catch up with you again for today's session. This is going to last 1 hour. So, as usual, the housekeeping rules: keep your phones on mute. Uh, keep your microphones on mute unless you want to say something. And if a question is asked, you might respond on the chat box. If you have a question, you can ask on the chat box, and feel free to ask, give comments or suggestions. Thank you. So how have you guys been over the last 2 days?
Restarts pretty quickly.
Okay, good. I hope that speaks for everybody. So I'll need every one of you, because this will be a practical session, to have a laptop or a computer with Excel. I hope that is possible. And then because we're going to use Excel and Google Spreadsheets. So you need to have access to both. So we'll have some sessions on Microsoft Excel, and then after some time, we can move to Google Spreadsheet. Is that okay, Ruth?
Okay.
Okay. On the chat box, let me see who has, those who don't have access to both Excel and Google Spreadsheets. Yes, no, yes, no. Let me see. No Excel for Margaret. Charles, you have access. Okay. Okay, I can see 4 yeses, 3 yeses and 1 no from Margaret. Good. So in the meantime, I would like to share, I don't know how to do this. I'd like to share some files with you guys, and then we can work on this together. We only have 4 members who have access. Okay, so we will pick it up from where we left last week. We introduced ourselves to data science, its concepts and applications. For today's session, we are going to do a bit of data analysis using Excel, just very basic. After this session, for those who have not had a chance to practice data manipulation using Excel or Google Spreadsheet, you can go and learn at your own free time for the other parts which you feel you can learn. So we will start with because this is going to be very practical. I do not have presentations, PowerPoint presentations for you. So it's basically hands-on. You'll be following steps that we write down to execute simple operations on data. So now, Ruth, I would like to share files. I don't know how to do it with you. I don't know if I can share with everybody.
Yeah, I think you can send it through the chat.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you have access, or I have to make you a co-host.
Okay. Give me a minute or just a moment for me to download the files. Okay. So as we do that, as I download the files, we can maybe start with Google Spreadsheets. So for each one of you, open a Google Chrome or whatever browser you are using to access the web. So open Google Chrome. From Google Chrome, go to Google Drive, and from that Google Drive, open a new Google Spreadsheets. Are we all there?
No. Inaonekana kuna nimetoa.
Are we there already? Okay, thank you. You can simply click on what Kevin has put on the chat. I think my laptop is hanging. Sorry for that. Kevin, could you please allow me to disconnect and reconnect because I'm having challenges with my laptop?
I think you can reconnect. For the others, you can also use the link I've sent to quickly get you to Google Sheets. Is there anyone having a challenge to access Google Sheets so that we can assist each other before Mr. Anthony reconnects? Is anyone joining us now and doesn't know what we are doing?
Hello, everyone. Sorry, I'm back. I had an issue with my connectivity. Kevin, are you the one coordinating the call? You can allow me to share my screen. Configure the settings to allow me to share my screen.
Okay, just a second.
Okay, great. So can you all see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. So we have, I'm sure you all clicked on the spreadsheet. So you have a new spreadsheet that is untitled. So we want to bring in here some data and try to work with that data. So we would like to import data from a certain range of cells. So I'm going to share with you some database in the chat box. So you click that. Can you see anything on the chat box? Hello?
No, you sent a file or the link?
You have sent a link on the chat box. If you can see it, let me know.
No, we don't have that yet.
Okay. Okay, in the meantime, on your browser, we want to extract some data from maybe the Kenya demographics from Wikipedia. So you can click on a new tab and search Kenya demographics. Click Kenya Wikipedia, Kenya demographics. So you can see some data in there. You can see some tables. This is table number 1. We have table number 2 and the map on the left. We have various tables all the way. You probably want to import data into your new spreadsheet from this website. So basically this session, this particular session is on how you can extract data from URLs, from how you can import data files from Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, how you can import data from website and from other spreadsheets that are connected to you. So this is Kenya's data, demographic data on Wikipedia, but we want to have, say, table 1 on our untitled spreadsheets. So the formula here that you use is called import HTML. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can.
So you go to A1, which is cell A1. You type import. We all try this together so that you see how the results will look like. Import HTML. And then you go to the demographics, the URL, and you copy paste it, Control C. Open that. And then you type is it visible enough for you to see? You type the URL. We want a table. So it is table 1 on that website. Then 1. Then you close that and you click enter. Can someone share the screens to see what they get? Kevin, can you follow on participant to see if they are getting the same results? Oh, sorry, someone says we repeat.
Repeat, yeah.
Okay, good. I'll go back and delete this formula. So I want to extract data from Kenya demographics on Wikipedia. This is a table. If you check here, this is table. This is the first table. So we want to bring this to our new untitled spreadsheets. So you go to the untitled spreadsheet, the first cell, A1, and you insert the formula, which is import HTML. Once you do that, you go to the website and copy paste the link. You come back to your formula and carry on. Open parentheses. Open quotation marks. You copy paste the link. Close quotation marks, comma, open quotation marks, table, because you want data in the table format. Close that, comma. We want to see table 1. Then you close that. You hit enter. The formula is import HTML. Are we all there? I'm putting it on the chat box. Are we getting the same results?
Yes, for me, I'm getting the same.
Okay. Thank you. Now we want to, if you go to the website, it has actually picked the first table, which is on the table of contents. So it means our table 1 is not that one. This is table 1. So we'll probably go to the same formula and edit the 1 and change it to a 2. Click here and edit this one to 2. Are we all there? After doing that, let's see if we can bring in data for table number 3. Table number 3 is this one on provinces in the year 2019 data. So we want to obtain data. We want to bring these into our new spreadsheet. So this is table number 3. You go back to your new untitled spreadsheet. Let's go to row number A18. You type the formula import HTML. Open that, quotation marks. You still have your link in the clipboard, so you can copy paste that. Then you close that, comma, it's table. Sorry, table. Close that, comma, we want table 3. Are we getting the same results? Okay. So as an exercise, can you do table number 4? You bring it to the new spreadsheet. bring in table number 4 and number 5. And once you do that, can everyone share the link, share their, copy paste the formula on the chart after doing that? Okay, as we do that, I would like you to finally import table number 6 on vital statistics. Import HTML. You still have the link, you copy paste it, close, open table, have table number 6. Thank you, John. Are we getting the same results? Table number 6? So I want you to re-edit your last formula and include obtain table number 7. Okay, thank you. I would like us to create a new spreadsheet file. You go to the file and then create a new spreadsheet. Rename this file and call it import range. Go to the previous file and rename it import HTML. Are we together? Go to the file import HTML and label the sheet below there. Label it table 7.
Where? Excuse me?
So you remember the first untitled spreadsheet that you had, where we were extracting data from Wikipedia Kenya demographics. You went and obtained table number 7. If you can see my screen. Sorry? If you can see my screen, this is the table that I'm referring to. Or rather, you can copy paste the formula that I'm putting on the chat box to guide you. So this first spreadsheet that we were working on, call it import HTML, label it import HTML. From this import HTML file, click on file and click on new spreadsheet. It will open a new spreadsheet that I'll want you to name import range. Go back to the previous spreadsheet that you called import HTML and label the sheet 1, which is rename it to table 7. So you have two spreadsheets. You have import HTML and you have import range. And sheet one of, which is the only sheet in import HTML, is table 7. So go to import range and bring that data from import HTML here. So only table 7 from import HTML. And the formula we use for this is called import range. So here again, the formula is, are we together? Yes, no? Can I repeat? Okay, thank you. So the formula here is import range, open brackets. We are using import, we are using import HTML sheet. So you go and copy paste that link for import HTML. Open quotation, copy paste it here, comma, commas again. So we want to obtain data from sheet called table 1 in import HTML. So it's called table 7. So after that, you type table 7, make sure the spelling is correct, and then exclamation mark. If you go back to table, to where table 7 is, make sure your location is within, you will be required to specify the location in terms of cells. So the criteria and the range within that, that table has to be precise. So you go to, for my case, my table number 7 starts in A29 all the way to I41. So A29 to I49. Then you close that. Now, these will require you, because these are spreadsheets, under your Google account, you'll have to allow access. So I'm allowing import range to access data from import HTML on my spreadsheet. Are we getting the same results? Can I repeat? Okay, I'll delete these. So now we want to bring data from import HTML to import range. We have already labeled our forms, different forms, import HTML, and the other form import range. So we want to transfer data from import HTML to import range. Within import HTML, we had labeled the first sheet table 7. Table 7, we had obtained it from the Kenya Demographics Wikipedia, which is our table 7 from that URL. So what we do, we go to, in fact, for ease of, for everybody's, if you want this to be easy for you, just go back to the import HTML and copy paste the link or the formula in the first cell. Or go to the first cell where you had started your work and change that number 2 or whatever number of table you had, change it to a 7. And then delete the rest. So in import HTML, we have our data obtained from the demographics of Kenya Wikipedia. So you want to bring this data to import range. Are we together now? So you come to import range and you put the formula import range, open, you go to import HTML, you click on that link, Control C, you come and paste it here, quotation marks, comma, open quotation marks, you go to import HTML, the table, the sheet here is called table 7. So you go to import range, you're looking for data from table 7, and the data is within the range of, starts from cell A1 all the way to cell I13. Are we together? So you come to import range after writing table 7, the exclamation mark, range is A1 to I14, and then you close that. Are you getting the same results? It will ask you to, there'll be an error for reference. So this is a Google form, so you need to give it permission. Are we together?
I think you typed 1 instead of I.
This is yeah, sorry, thanks. There's another, I think I'm gonna have to repeat this again. Okay. Are we getting the same results? A1 to I14. There's a small problem with my formula, I can't figure it out. Are we getting the same? Let me start again. A1 to A14. Okay, I got it. Are we here? Are we together? Yes, no? Can I repeat? Hello? Can I proceed? Okay, thank you. So why are we doing this? You could be having, you might have created a survey form somewhere, and surveys allow you to collect data and collect. So in your data repository where you are warehousing all your data, you might want to bring it to a new form. And this is the formula that you use. But then this data keeps adding up in real time, and it keeps growing in size. So you'll want to have an interface where all data is aggregated and you can be able to see it in one glance. So data is being picked from various forms into your system. So this is the formula you use if you're using Google Spreadsheets to collect your data and analyze from there. So if you go to import HTML and you change, this data refers to data from a different URL. So you want to copy paste these old data into a new sheet called, go back to import HTML and create a new sheet, call it table 8. Go to import range and create a new sheet. It's already labeled sheet number 2. So you want to pick data from import HTML, table number 8, and bring it here. So you use the same formula, import range. So we are bringing data from import HTML table 8 into import range sheet number 2. So the same formula, you have your import range link. Open that, Control V. So we are using table 8. Make sure that your spelling does not have spaces. Table 8 should be like that. Small letters. But table 8 is blank. So table 8, you have exclamation mark. You want to import data from A1 all the way to, say, Z50. And then you close that and you have that. It's blank. If you go to import HTML table 8 and you type anything within the range of A1 to Z50, it will be able to pick, that will be picked by import range in that sheet number 2. So you can type anything. When you go back to import range, all that is appearing. So if you have participants with access to import range, you have their names, date of birth, gender, phone number. For example, we can delete all these. So participant called Anthony, we have Kevin, we have Eric. You have given them access to the form, only to the form called import range to populate here. But you want to see the data coming in import range. You'll be able to see that in real time, which they don't have access to. Is that okay? Are we together?
Yeah.
Okay. So the other thing is, so you could be having, how many of you have done surveys, have created survey tools, online survey tools before? Oh, great. So Joanne is asking, how come, what do you mean they don't have access to? So for instance, you have people in the field who are collecting data for you, but you have shared a form called, let us rename import HTML to enumerators form, enumerator form. So your enumerators are in the field collecting data, and you have given them enumerator form, but then you are the supervisor. So your form import range is called supervisor form. And you have enumerator A, B, C, D. And this enumerator A has access to form A only. And you know that enumerator A is going to survey 20 participants. So you come to form number A, and you are aware that enumerator A will only take 20 rows in form number A up to here. So you come to supervisor form, and in your formula, you know that data that collects from A2 all the way to A20 is from enumerator number 1. So you also change your formula in, you change your formula in your supervisor form to only capture data for enumerator A, enumerator A, who is going to make only 20 entries. You remove Z50, you put Z20, up to Z20. Okay, and then you are aware that enumerator B will start collecting data from 21 all the way to 40. So you'll come in supervisor form, go to row number 21 and put in that formula, or sorry, you put that formula A21, paste it here, but then you come here and change from A21 to Z20. But you see, we don't have data for, so if you come to enumerator A form and you enter data from 21, you go back to supervisor form, there should be some data. There should be some data, but this is what I'm saying. You have your enumerators who are collecting data in using form A, using formula, forms by enumerators. They do not have access to your supervisor form, and you do not have time to be moving in each one's form and cutting and pasting that data into your supervisor form. So you use these formulas. Does that answer your question, Joanne? Okay, anyone with a question before we move on to the next section? Okay, so I have some data here, but I don't know how to, I think you all have access. You can see my screen, right? Can you all see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, so we have some data here from This is just sample data that we collect in the field. I don't know if, let me share this link with you and see if you can open.
Access is denied.
Access is denied. Let me change the sharing. Let me change the sharing permissions for that. Sorry. Oops. Let me see what I can do. So in addition to import HTML and import range, there are others you can read about. We have import data. With import data, you can import data files from websites. For instance, Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, they have downloadable files from in there from which you can import data into your spreadsheets and analyze from there. We also have something called import. Called what? I think we have those three that are very useful: import range, import HTML, and import data. We have another one for importing RSS files, but then that's not very useful for now if you're into collecting data from websites. So I'm going to share a file with you. Hey, Kevin, I can see we don't have much time, and yet the session is barely started.
I think we can continue.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if the participants.
Okay, let's check with the participants. Are you willing to continue? Since we have issues with access to data, and I would like us to cover something called pivot tables. How many of you have heard of pivot tables as I configure my sharing settings with you guys? Or Kenya Bureau of Statistics, they have, you can download files from their website, but you need to go to the correct link so as to download the specific file that you want. Yes, Rebecca, you can follow later from the shared link. What do you mean we'll follow later? Are you dropping off? So I want to cover something called pivot tables. How many of you have heard of pivot tables before? Okay. just give me a second. Pivot tables, anyone else? Okay.
I think you'll have to change the group also.
The group is unfortunately tied to, yeah, that will be fine. Yeah, sure. Now, can you try and access?
Yeah, it's possible to access now.
Okay. So all of you have access. Thank you. Now, we have data here. We have participants' names, email addresses, and birthday, gender, county, where they come from. So this is data that is a bit structured. It's well structured, and you might be required to. You might be asked to summarize details of this data. You might be asked to summarize how many participants in these are female, how many are male, how many are coming from Kisumu and are female, how many are coming from Nyanza and are female, and stuff like that. So to be able to do that, you'll have to use pivot tables. But then before we get to pivot tables, there are a bit of formulas. So let's get started with a bit of data cleaning, yeah? So we want to ensure that the first name and the last name are in one cell. So you click on C, column number C, and then insert one column to the left. Are we all there? So we want to combine the first name and the second name into column number C. So we call this column number C full names, full name. There's a formula that is called concatenate. So we'll use concatenate. So you'll combines cells, different cells into one. So concatenate. Are we together?
I
click.
think, sorry, Anthony, I think
Yeah.
they'll have to copy the data to an Excel sheet of their own. Because right now everyone is working on the same file that you're working on.
Okay, so you can make a copy of this data, please. Go to file and then make a copy of the data. Have we created copies of our own data and you call it your name? So we want to combine into column C, we want to combine all the names together into one. So we use concatenate. So is equals to concatenate. That's the spelling. You click on A1, A2, you're combining comma with B2, and then you close that. So we have Alice, Achieng combined, but then we want to write Alice, Achieng as a proper name. So we want to eliminate the aspect of them being in capital. So you come into the formula and you re-edit that. But before, let's be systematic. Are we together? Okay, so you have your full name, Alice, in C, but we want to have proper names written as the first name being, the first letter being capital for both names. So we want to do that in column number D. So you come to D and create a new column. So you insert one to the left. So to your left, you write proper, just proper name. Label that column proper name. So here again, you use the formula proper and then the name. And then the reference is that. Click on enter.
Bluetooth device is ready to pair.
Sorry, I wasn't sure if you are able to make a copy of the same document, but I can see Kevin has assisted. We want these to apply for all the names. So we will copy paste this formula to apply for the rest of the names. But there's a shortcut to doing these two steps. So you insert another column to the left of E. So we are going to combine, concatenate together with making the name proper. So we're going to say proper, bracket, concatenate, open bracket, you click on A2, comma, and then B2, then you close that. So the formula in E combines the two functions together. So you can copy paste what you have in E to apply for the rest. So you scroll all the way down. It is a lot, but there's a shortcut to doing these. Stop there. It will do that for the rest. Let me copy paste the formula on the chat box. Are we there? So we come to column number C and D and delete them. Are we together? So basically you can concatenate anything. You can combine, you can concatenate every cell here. You can combine email addresses with the gender and the county. So we want to combine Alice Achieng, comma, female Kenyan from Kisumu. So you go to, you write the formula concatenate Alice Achieng, comma, open quotation mark, and then you write from, quotation mark, comma, she's from Kisumu, click on Kisumu, comma, open quotation mark, and you type, and she is a, open quotation mark, comma, female, and you close that. You can see it has returned that, but then we have between Alice Acheng from Kisumu, there is no space. You go back to your formula and you create space. The space between Alice and Acheng is very large. So you go back to the formula, the first one where you are concatenating, and you reduce the space. So you can reduce the space by clicking whatever is in between the quotation marks. So this should change. Are we together? So you can copy paste the same formula although for those who are male, it will read she, but you can copy paste that and see how it looks like. We only have one person from Busia, Eunice Achola. You can see Eunice Achola Ekasiba from Busia, and she's a female. So you can always use concatenate to combine things that are from different cells into one place. Let me paste the formula into the chat box again. Are we together? Are we all here? Okay, thank you. So we go back and delete column J. That was just for better understanding of concatenate. So we delete that. Go to column C, if we are here together, and name that full name. Okay. So how many of you can tell me how many female participants are in this list? Can you do a quick count and tell me how many are females in this list? Kevin, are you following?
Yeah.
Anyone with an idea as to how you can count those who are females in the list? Yes, you use the COUNTIF formula. So let's do this together. So we want to count all the females who are in this list. So type count if. Let us select the entire column F where we know we have females. So F all the way to the end. And then we want female. Let us repeat the same for males. Use the same formula. Count if in column F, male. That. There are 86. Okay. Are we together?
Yeah.
I've pasted the formula on the chat box. Now, how many of you can count females who are in Nyanza and come from Kisumu? So we use the same formula count if, but then because we have so many conditions, we're going to count ifs. So we start count ifs. We want to count all females in FF who hail from Nyanza and in this condition, and who hail from Nyanza in H. Are we there? Kisumu, sorry, Nyanza. They are 75. But we can add another condition to see how many are from Nyanza and come from Kisumu. So we continue. The area for county is I, comma, and then the condition is goes to Kisumu. Oops. 67. There's a question from Shamim. Yes, so how do you count all the genders? So for all the genders, you simply use the form because you don't, it's not specified. So it's both genders, use the formula counter. And then where we have genders, you indicate that and voila, 275. It has counted 275 because if you add 188 to 86 is 274. When you don't specify here for gender, we have included the word gender, so it's counting 275. So let's be specific, counter. Then you scroll all the way in column F from A2. So instead of doing that, you just specify F2 all the way to, we know they are not more than 300, so F300. And click that, it will give you 274. But the beauty of using, if you know the size of your data set, the beauty of using the entire column is you can add something at the bottom and it will still count. So if you have another data set that is connected to this and it feeds these in real time, your count and will keep changing. So here we have total gender 274. Here we have total females from Kisumu. And here we have total females. And here we have total males. See that? So if you are doing a report and you want to tell people in real time how many females are from a certain location, you just use these formulas. But then if you delete female here, also the numbers will change accordingly. The formula for count if everybody is from Nyanza and females is, let me paste it. Okay, thank you. So now can someone, but if you have blanks in the data, let's create, delete some cells here. And we want to count empty spaces, use the formula count blank. So it is F2 all the way to say F275. F275. It will tell you that we have 9 blank spaces. So someone did not complete the agenda, did not tell us the agenda, and you'll pinpoint those people who did not tell you your agenda. You can still improve that formula for how many are blank, but they are from Mombasa. So use the formula counter blank. I don't know if it will work. It's my first time to try this. Count blank if all the way here, the condition could be all the way there. I'm not sure about this, but I'm sure there's that possibility. Okay, are we together? So instead of using these formulas to analyze, to count people, to summarize who's there and who's not, we can use pivot tables. So I want to take you to the next section, unless you have a question on these formulas. They're very basic though. Any question? Are we together?
Yeah, get together.
Okay. So now there's another powerful tool in Microsoft Office, Excel, and Google Spreadsheets called the pivot tables. Pivot tables. You can use pivot tables to summarize your data in whichever format you want. A pivot table will count for you who's from where. It will summarize per gender. It will give you a very good summary of the data for you to be able to do visualizations out of that, create charts and tables out of that. So our next session is on pivot tables. So we delete whatever calculations we've been doing in I and J. Are we together? And we want to create pivot tables for these data to ensure that you have to ensure that all your columns are labeled nicely like this. So if you leave a blank, it will not pick. So you highlight the entire data set. You can do that by typing concurrently, pressing Control A. And then after doing Control A, you go to, so let me look for it. Data, and then go to pivot tables. Are we together? After hitting pivot tables, you want to have your summary table in a new sheet. So you click new sheet and then you create. This new sheet, okay, let me repeat. I will have to delete what I've done here. So we want to create pivot table for this entire data. So we want to select everything in this data set. So Control A. Or you can select everything in whichever way you prefer to do it. And then you go to data here. That is the third, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the sixth tab. The first tab is File, Edit, View, Insert, Format, and then Data. Click on that data and scroll all the way to Pivot Tables. So it will give you a pop-up that asks you to do create a pivot table, and the sheet range is A1 to I275. Now, we don't want, this is our database, so we don't want our pivot table to be here. So we want to do it in a new sheet. So you check the box for new sheet and you create. Okay. So let us say we want to summarize this data by counties. By counties, so we want our rows to be counties. So add, you come here to the left, to the right hand side of your screen, there's suggested, there's number of unique first names for each, count of birthday for each county, count of unique last name for each county and state. And then we have rows, you can add, you have columns, there's a button for adding, values for adding, and filters for adding. So I want to teach you how to create a pivot table. So we want our rows to be counties. So we come to row and click on add. And then there are options here. So you want to add county. Once you do that, you'll observe that the pivot table is taking shape. So you have your counties listed in column A. Are we together?
Yeah.
So since we know that everybody has completed the agenda, everybody provided information about the agenda, so we know we can use columns. So in our columns, let us use gender. So add gender. So it will give you a summary of for each county, male and female, and then the total. But then you want your values to be a count of what? Everybody provided the agenda. So let's have our count, our values to be the counts of all genders. So we go to values and add, click add, and then gender. See? So we have created our first pivot table for this data. So from this data, you can see that we only have one person from Bomet who is a lady. And we have one person from Meru who is a lady. We also have, and you can also see we have the most people from this table are from Kisumu, 75 people, 67 are females. If you go back, if you remember our formula when we did the county for gender in Kisumu, who are from Nyanza, was it giving us 67? So within these pivot tables, there's a code that runs in the background with the formulas that we were working on. So, and this code tells pivot tables to do the right summaries, to count the right things at every, whichever way you want to configure it. Are we together?
Yeah.
So if you want to know, sorry. If you want to know huyu mtu anatoka Bomet ni nani, just come to the one here and double click it. It will open a new sheet with the details of that person from Bomet. Okay. If you want to know these 75 people from Mombasa, these are 50 people from Mombasa, who are they? Just come to the 50 and double click that. It will create a new tab with the 50 people from Mombasa and their details. Okay. Are we together? So let me delete that. Delete these. Okay. Now you might want to create, you want to filter this pivot table further. There's a section here for filter. Filters here, it means you want to maybe create specific summaries of the data. So you can come to filter and add. And maybe in our filter, let us filter counties. Okay. And in the counties, when you create a county filter, it gives you an option for showing all items, or an option for unchecking or removing certain counties from the list. So let's start by removing Bomet, because it only has one person. We remove Bungoma. You uncheck Bungoma, Embu. Just uncheck randomly. In fact, let's uncheck the rest and let's remain with maybe Kisumu and Mombasa in the list, in the summary. So you uncheck, check Murang'a, Kuru, Nandi, Nyamira, Tharaka Nithi. The best way would have been to clear all and then go to click Mombasa and then click Kisumu and hit the OK button. So you are only left with a summary of Kisumu and Mombasa. Are we together? Hadija, are you following? Shamin? Margaret, are we together? Kevin, is everything okay? Can continue?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah, everything is okay.
everything is okay. Good.
Yes.
So we still want to have all our counties in. Okay, Adija, you're requesting us to go through the pivot tables again. I'll start from the first part. If you don't mind, everybody, let me repeat for the sake of her. Okay. So we want to create a summary that tells us, that counts these all these items. Okay. Let me do this real quick. Control A. I select everything. I go to data. I click on pivot tables. I want it to be in a new sheet. And then there I go. On my right, there are options for what I want the summaries to look like in the rows and the columns, and what the values should be, and also filters. So I'll go to rows. I want the rows to be counties. So I click on county. So that will animate there. I want the columns to be a summary county for the gender. So I click on gender. And then I want the values, because I'm very sure everybody provided their gender. So the values to be account of genders. And then I want, yeah, up to that point. Are you okay, Khadija, up to that point? Khadija? So if you make a mistake of, instead of adding account of gender and you add what? Let's add email address, account of email address. It will give you a misleading summary, because if you go to sheet 1 and you check, someone like Eunice, row number 4, did not provide their email address. So that will mislead you. It will give you the false count. So you have to make sure that you only count, you only create values for the column that you're sure everybody populated. So we'll go back to our pivot tables and change, instead of summarizing by email address, we are summarizing by gender. So add gender. And if you look here, the summarized by its account of, so it uses the formula counter. The others don't mind about them right now. You can read about them later, but it gives you a summary that counts genders only. Is that okay with you, Khadija? Now, and finally on pivot tables, from these tables, you can also create visualizations. You can create a pie chart, not a histogram, because it's not a frequency table. You can create some good visualizations out of these. So we have our pivot table, counties with gender and totals. So we want to insert, say, a pie chart or a bar graph. So you select count, you come to the table and you select from row number 2 to row number 26. You leave out the totals. And then you come here to insert. Are we together? You come to the tab here for options, you go to insert. File, edit, view, and then you go to insert. And at insert point, you insert a chart. Can we all see this? Are we together? Margaret, are you with us? So you can use your basic understanding of statistics, basic statistics, to explain to someone that from this chart, you can clearly see people in Kisumu are the most. And then you can, when you hover over this chart, you can see there's a red, there's a yellow, there's a blue within the same column that tells you what is what. So the summary is not okay, because we have the total together with the genders breakdown in the same column. So this is misleading. So you want to refine your chart. Let me refine it. Are we together? Have we been able to do this together? Kevin, can you check so that we're on the same page? Who was not able to do it? Are we all here?
Yes.
Okay. So we can remove these, we can delete our chart. Let me see. Sorry, I'm using a new laptop and I'm getting used to it. It is very different from Windows, so I'm learning new things also. So let's insert a pie chart instead. So you select the data, you leave out the ground totals. And then you go to insert chart. And then you have your, sorry, bar graphs. So you have your bar graph here. Now with the correct summaries, you can't have totals and the gender breakdown in the same column. So this is fine. So from here, when you're interpreting this data to someone, they can clearly see that Kisumu has the highest number of people, followed by Mombasa, and then Busia. And then the one with the least is actually Bomet, the one that are very close to a 0 or a 1. Okay. Okay, I think I'm done for today. Any questions?
Yeah, so anyone with a question, you can unmute yourself or you can post it on the chat.
So I can give a quick summary of what Excel can do and what you can actually do with Excel before you even start using R or Python for data analysis. The good thing with Excel is that it comes in handy for those who are not very good with code, and it's easy to manipulate things on Excel than using R or Python. And then Excel, you can obtain a .csv file from it and then import into R for further analysis. The good thing about R or Python is that they can handle big data sets. At some point, Excel may not be very helpful when your data is too large, too huge. Sometimes it will tell you it's not responding when you hit a function. So for those who are beginning, you can start learning Excel. So we have very good formulas, very good functionalities, including sum ifs, measures of central tendencies. Those are mean averages for data. You can do mathematics and calculations using Excel. You can have data that you want to grade. You can use, there's so many ways you can manipulate things using Excel. So I'm going to share with you a link. Yes, you can use that to analyze school data. In fact, Willis, if time could have allowed us, I wanted us to go through school data. I had some
Yes.
school data for use for this session. But then my laptop acted up a little. So I lost that data. And you mean school data as a teacher?
Yes.
Yes. In fact, if you have data for every student and they've sat for CATs or a final exam, and you want to grade with one formula to see how many are scoring, how many are classified as having scored A's, B's, then counting all that for you and graphing it for you to see, even doing distributions for that. Excel can handle that. I wanted to show you what some, but we don't have time for that. But I can send you some links for that will be helpful. Okay. So there's more that you can do, and this we have barely scratched the surface. We have barely scratched the surface. There's more that you can do with data analysis using Excel, just basics. First of all, cleaning and whatnot, all the way to analyzing. If we had, for example, our data that is disorganized here, see, first of all, you have to clean it up. You have to figure out where there are empty spaces. You have to, if you had enumerators in the field and you want them to complete the blanks, you will identify where the blanks are and then communicate those blanks to the enumerators for them to fill the gaps. So you can get started with data analysis using Excel, and there's more that you can do with it. You can learn on your own.
I can see Willis asking if you can analyze fee collection, data for fee collection.
Absolutely, you can. You can analyze data that tells you who hasn't paid, how many have paid this much, how many have contributed this much. Then you give them a category. If you are having people collect 1,000 shillings, maybe others are contributing 500, and then the ones who are providing have contributed 500. You want to highlight that maybe in a color red. You can do that using Excel. Yeah. So there's those possibilities too. For example, in our data here, you can still see my screen. You may want to highlight those who are women in the list by a different color. So you go to that column and then you go to data. And then you hit you go to format, conditional formatting. You have already highlighted your column F. So you want to, if in these, and then you give a condition under which you want to highlight your data. So you want to say cells within that range that are F. You come here on your right, you can see a panel that shows you conditions for formatting. If the text contains or starts with, let's say it starts with F, then you want to highlight it by, no, let's use M, female. You can choose a color to highlight for you. Let's say the color should be red. And boom, voila, it will show you once you look at it. If you want to see who has not filled a certain section, say, we want to see how many blanks in email are there. You come to email, you highlight it, and then you go to format, go to conditional formatting. You want to highlight empty, spaces that are empty. You want to use the color blue, and voila, that's what it shows. So I wish we had more data to play with here, or I could share what I had prepared with you earlier on. Also, we had time, but yeah. Back to you, Kevin.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Anthony. And I believe we've captured all the questions. If you still have more questions, you can always post them in the WhatsApp group. So I've learned a lot personally, and I believe the same for the participants. Thank you very much for joining today's session. Till next time.
Okay, bye. For those who
Alright.
will reach out to me, maybe for further, I can share my number and email address. It's already done in the, so my